Hello, David Paul here. Well, I'm a little bit out of breath, and but me keeping it real, I think I should make a video at this moment because this is my last night here in my house in Grosinas, and I'm sort of contented and disappointed both at the same time. It's crazy, mixed emotions. So I've spent most of the holidays building this goddamn wall in 38 degrees, setting up these concrete beams in the right positions, building that edge along there, ready to receive all the wood beams. I got a hodgepodge of things up the top there forming a platform, which I was going to sleep on, but to hell with it, it's just too much trouble. And if you roll over in the night, you could fall off it, so I'm not going to do that. So, I have this set in position, this rest of this wall to fill in. I've got the rebar, 2 rebars in position, ready to be concreted into an arch. I don't have any wood that I can construct an arch with, which I'm going to have to go and buy a bit. And I just basically need some hardboard or thin plywood. So get that done. And I'm running out of materials, so 2 huge sacks of sand and gravel, they're all gone, utilised to build these walls. Now, last night I saw a beautiful concrete block wall, very, very strong. And I thought, oh man, that would have been so simple to do it that way. But in retrospect, I have no regrets, because this damn thing has got to take a lot of weight. I have tried and tried. I've been all over the place and asked people for wood, which I can use to make the flooring. And it hasn't worked. They're all contracted to the eucalyptus buyers, and you're not going to get any, and that's the end of that. So, I noticed on my land there was a fallen tree. So I got into that. That took a couple of days to saw this damn thing up, battery to battery to battery, using an electric chainsaw. So I cut these, and I pulled this first one. I just moved this one from over there so it doesn't get dripped on by water in the winter. And I moved this one. This one was already here. I had previously moved it. And this first one here, the second one, I moved from the forest just a minute ago. That's why I'm out of breath. And I have worked and worked and worked, and my muscles are just, they're up to capacity. I can't do anything more. I have to secure that door up there. And that really just necessitates climbing up that ladder there and fiddling around, putting something in to secure it. And likewise this one up here. And I just don't have the energy. You know, I don't have the energy. So I have to keep sitting down all the time. So this is the end for me. This is the end because I'm leaving tomorrow. And also the end because I just don't have any more energy. So, what's next to do? Well, in the far corner over there is where the big giant pizza oven fire apparatus has got to go. It's called a Kiva oven, and I'm going to have to construct that by hand. And I don't know yet where I'm going to get the... I think I'm probably going to use fire cement. So I've got to do that. And I've got to finish this wall off. Once I get this, as soon as I get back on the next trip, I will finish that wall. And that will mean that I can then put boards across for the flooring upstairs which will, you know, it'll be able to take all of the load. It we'll have no doubts about that. You basically got an 8-foot high I-beam, which is, you know, tremendously stiff, and it's not going to buckle either because it's got the rebar in it. Okay, so that's to do. There's also the tops of these to be cemented, but that's not an immediate problem. The immediate problem next year is I'm going to try and bring Christina over here and on her own for a one-off trip. So I've got to get accommodations sorted. And the immediate problem next year is I've got to start on the roof, because if I put a floor down, the floor will get ruined by rain coming in. It doesn't actually matter at the moment in here because it's just this stone floor, the bedrock, and nothing's going to hurt. My other valuables like this 3-piece suite, which is not the greatest thing in the world, but it's all I got at the minute, and I need to protect it, so I'm going to put a tarp over the top of that. And all of these cooking things, like my gas stove and everything, that's going to go to my friend Keith tomorrow morning, and that gets taken out of circulation. This is why I don't buy a generator, because if I buy a generator, I've then got to make, you know, arrangements to protect the damn thing. And, you know, I could say to Keith, well, you know, you've got a generator now while I'm away, but he generally goes back home in the winter anyway. So, it's of limited use to him because he's not into DIY stuff and things like that. So if I were to dwell on all this, I would say it was a nightmare. But it's not really, because as soon as I get the floor upstairs laid, then I can get up onto the roof and then I can get started on that. So I've been mulling, you know, you've got to be prepared to change plan, you know. Something Donald Trump always gets accused of, but if you're a financial person, you do that. They will turn on a sixpence, they'll switch plans all the time, you know, and people think, oh, what's the matter? They're not sticking with the plan. It's not that. The circumstances have changed. So, because I can't get the flooring, what I'm going to do is I've got a few trees on my land which are quite substantial. So I'm going to butcher them up to make supporting beams across the floor until I can get the absolute beautiful things that I want. And I haven't seen the beautiful things. I've seen things on trucks going by, but I can't seem to be able to buy these things. But eventually I'll get what I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those as supports for the flooring and the other trees that I cut down. And I'm going to put simple random strand, I can't remember what that's called, it's like shives of wood, which are all glued together to form boards, and everybody's using them. And I hate them, I hate things like that. But I'm just going to suck it up and get on with it and lay that, and that will be my floor. Now obviously, if I put that on there, there's an 8-foot span there. That's going to bounce like hell. And somebody's going to bounce across it, it's going to collapse and cave in. So what I need to do is put beams over, supporting structure underneath, which will support them. So they're there really just to fill the gap between whatever supporting structure I put in. And as wood becomes available, I'll put more and more and more in, and that'll be my support. And then eventually, when I can get a hold of logs, what I'm going to do is this side of the house here, where there's a continuous run, I'm going to lay a full length board cut from a log from one end to this other end over here, and I'm going to cut off the edge of the flooring, and then I'm going to get another one, and then I'm going to cut off the edge of the flooring. So what I will be doing is using a jigsaw, and I'll be cutting away the floor over, maybe over the years, you know. I don't know. Probably when I'm here and settled, I'll eventually find somebody to sell me the wood that I want. But as things become available on my own land or whatever, and I'm actually going to plant chestnut trees as well, as things become available, I can recolonize the floor and do it all in wood. And my target now is not eucalyptus wood, because nobody will sell me the damned stuff. Got nothing against it. I just can't find anyone to sell me any. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use chestnut wood when it's grown. And I think I may be able to get sufficient grown in 2 years. So I'll get the floor that I want in 2 years. And in the meantime, we'll just suck it up. So we'll have this ugly chipwood floor, but maybe we'll get a very large rug and stick it on it. I'll think of something. Okay, the next thing is the roof. This damn roof, every time I visit Portugal, I never get the chance to do anything with the roof. And the reason being is that time I fell down a ravine, I'm very scared of falling and injuring myself, and I'm working on my own here, and it's not safe. So how do I get around that? Well, what I need the floor in. So as soon as the floor is in, I'm only climbing about 10 feet, 10 to 15 feet, 15 feet maximum, right up to the ridge. So that's not so far to fall, and you're just going to fall on your living room floor. And I can even place a mattress nearby, so if I fell, I'll land on the mattress. I mean, I can do all kinds of things if I got a floor there. But as I've said previously, if I fall from there and there's no floor here, I could hit my head on these beams. I could do all sorts, impale myself on something. It could be terrible. So I'm just not going to do that. So that brings up the question of how you're going to do the roof. Well, I've got all of these tiles, which I've been collecting from a neighbour. He gave me them for free. And somebody got into the supply of tiles and helped themselves to some themselves, which is fair enough, because, you know, I was supposed to take them away, and I haven't got the energy to move them from that other house. So I've got a load over there as well, behind that wall. And those tiles are not going to be adequate to do this roof. And also they're very heavy. So, okay, they're very heavy. So how am I going to compensate for them being very heavy? Well, tell you what, I've got to reinforce the roof. Right-o, let's do that, you know, and more bloody work, you know. So how do I get around that? Well, I've had to bite the bullet on this issue. There are two. The guy who gave me these tiles, they were off his house. What he's done is he's put sort of aluminium board stuff with an insulated back on it on his roof, and there are about 10 or something, 10 to 12 to do a roof like this. And this guy, you know, he's put this on, and I personally can carry one just easily. I probably carry about 3. So that just shows you how light they are, and yet that would be about a ton of tiles. So that allows me to stop worrying about the roof. I will put more reinforcements in. I'll put purlins running the length of the roof. But if I were to use those fake corrugated, like roof tile, Romanesque type style, you know, terracotta style, with aluminium sheet and just painted brown and whatnot. If I were to use that, then it would take a tremendous load off the house, a tremendous load off that roof, and it would take a tremendous amount of work away from me, and we could just get on with our lives. So I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I keep looking at it, and it's starting to fade. It's starting to look a bit dirty and more naturalistic, you know. And I realised he has a neighbour who had her house finished, well, a few months before his was done. And that neighbour's roof is starting to look like organic. It's starting to get lichens growing on it and things like that. We have pristine, clear air here. There's no pollution at all. Really, really fresh air. So what I'm thinking is, if I put that stuff on my roof, man on a galloping horse will never notice. You can't even see my roof, because in order to see, you have to go right across the valley there to the other side, because on this road you can't see up to be able to see the roof. So we go across the valley and then look at the house, and then you're looking at a house which is covered in lichens. As the house is now, you're unable to know what the hell the roof's made of. It kind of looks like asbestos because it's so covered with lichens. Very rustic looking. So what I can do is just put that stuff up, and to hell with it. And if you want to, here's a tip for anybody who wants to naturalise stone or roofs or anything like that, you know, get nature going, and they like the look of the lichens on their roof. What you do is, the roofing materials that you're putting up, paint it with milk. Just a quick slap of milk over the top of it. Or you can use cow manure juice. So you get some cow manure and make a juice out of it. Personally, I'd rather get a few litres of milk and do it that way. And then that's it. And that provides a sort of organic key of bacteria and whatnot that the lichens get on and they kick off. So that's it. And that's the situation of the house at the moment. So it's a bloody pigsty in here, honestly. And I was feeling sad about leaving, but to be honest, at the minute I've really had enough. If I were to take a little break, I'd be energised. When I was up in Coimbra, that energised me to get back to work when I came back. So it's just you know, just need time off from it and let my muscles recover and fill up with glycogen and get their energy back and so on, and rest. So back to England, back to teaching. As soon as I get my DBS sorted, back to teaching. Write out my project proposal for Coimbra University, and really, in all honesty, going back to work it's going to be a hell of a rest from this. But anyway, it's nice to see, even as slowly as this, it's nice to see, you know, things slowly developing. It's just the way it has to be. Outside, I put some plants in the hope that they will grow up the wall. This is my third. Sorry, I must be getting dust blown in here. This is my third attempt to grow a bougainvillea, and hopefully no enthusiast from the council or whatever will run over with a strimmer, as they normally do. So let's have a look at my bougainvillea. I've done all the good things. I've given it as much nutrition. Quick look at the beautiful surroundings. So the bougainvillea, it's turned out to be a red one. Just exactly what I want. Bougainvilleas are a bit unstable in their colours. If there's any sort of alkalinity, what I've observed anyway, they tend to go red. So this is very red, but this is limestone, and there's limestone in the soil and all sorts. Lots of potato peelings on it. There's an oleander there to sort of cuddle round the bougainvillea. The idea being that the oleander provides protection for the bougainvillea during the winter in case it gets frosted. It shouldn't get frosted here, but in case it gets just too cold. And there's a thing called a mandeville. It's called a diplodina, but it's a mandeville. It's the climbing one. What the hell the difference is, I don't know. And that's it. Oh my God. Look at that. Wow, it's going into full flower now. It's September and the bougainvillea is coming into flower. It's healthy. It struggled. I cut some branches off it to lower the demand for water, and I've just kept it back to a few strands. I think I'm going to have to put a piece of string up for it to climb up while I'm away. And so anyway, it seems to have responded well to that, and it's managing to not to run short of water. The weather's changing now anyway, and it's it's becoming a bit wetter, and rained last night. Not last night, the night before. So it's helping. And that's it. So there you go, folks. For all those people interested, this is how the project's going at the moment. No more work's being done on the exterior because it's not yielding anything. It's not giving me a house to live in. Chipping that off, I know it makes the place look better, and I'm glad I did what I did, because I didn't have any materials or money to do anything else other than spend time chipping plaster off. So that's that. And so nothing more to tell you there, really. Last look around the scenery. Hopefully in the future they'll harvest these damned eucalyptuses and eucalypti and they'll be gone. Maybe the bomberos will put a ban on them or whatever, because they're near the village and they're also near my house. I live in hope. So, Artilago, see you later. Jesus be with you.